Hello class. In this lecture we're going to be discussing scales. What are scales? A good vocabulary term to know. Every musician practices scales, right? Pianists more so than most because scales define so much of the music that we play. Scales, if we want to talk about the definition, is a collection of notes, 8 notes in particular, that are played in stepwise motion, ascending, then descending. I'm sure if you hear this, you'll recognize it, but you might not know the name attached to it. That's a scale. We're going to be learning how to play scales in this lecture, right? The first scale we're going to be going over is the C major scale. It's important to note that when we name scales, the letter that we attach to those scales is the first note that we start with. So a C major scale starts on C. It goes up to C and goes back down to C. A G major scale, likewise, starts on G, ascends stepwise motion to G, and descends in stepwise motion back down to G, right? But for this lecture, we're going to be talking just about the C major scale. All the subsequent scale videos and examples will be far shorter than this one. That being said, so we're going to play C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Once we hit that C, we're going to turn around and go back the other way. C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C. It's important to remember that we have fingering associated with these scales. And that fingering is, for all of the sharp scales up until the midterm, is going to be, for the right hand, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You should be able to repeat that back to me. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Say that a couple times and get that in your head. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right? I'm writing down the C major scale right now, and I'm going to write the fingering above the notes. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we reverse that. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. If we were to play this scale in the bass clef, the fingering, because if we look at our hands are not parallel. Our hands are actually mirrored when we hold them up. So the fingering for the bass, or the left hand, is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1. In other words, the exact reverse, the exact mirror of what the right hand was. So I'm going to hold this up, and on canvas you should have a scale handout that I have put on there, and the only scales we need to concern ourselves with are the major scales, right? The first 2 pages of this handout. And in that handout we will see that yes, indeed, the right hand fingerings are written above and the left hand fingerings are written below. I've taken the liberty here to write it out on 2 staffs, right? So the right hand starting on C, going up to C, and then going back down to C. Okay? With that correct fingering. Now, there is something tricky that we have that happens right here. From here to here, and in the left hand from here to here, and that is called a thumb crossing, and I will show you that on this video of how we tackle that. Right now, remember, the C major scale has no accidentals. In other words, it contains no sharps and it contains no flats. Right? In the previous video we should have already studied and learned what a sharp is and what a flat is, and how they are altered notes when it comes to playing music. So let me take the camera and I'm going to show you how to play this scale correctly. I know that there's a lot of YouTube videos out there, and I'll say this over and over again. YouTube videos are great for a lot of things. But I always tell my classes this. I go, on YouTube, when you are learning valuable information, a skill or an art form or things like that, you get what you pay for. Then some students go, well, it's free. Well, you get what you pay for. So, here is the scale up close. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's see how this is tackled on the piano. I start with my thumb, first finger on C, and I play 1, 2, 3. Now I have to start over. There's that 3 to 1. I have to start over with my first finger. Instead of jumping, we don't ever want to do this. We don't ever want to jump, right? We don't see piano players go like this. We don't see that. Very, very incorrect playing. What we want to do is play the first 3 notes, as it says here, 1, 2, 3, and then we have to somehow get to our first finger. Well, that is accomplished by sliding our thumb under while using this middle finger as an anchor note. So watch this. 1, 2, 3. Thumb under to this F. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now going back down, I use this thumb as an anchor, and I use it as a pivot joint to move my third finger over to this E. 3, 2, 1. And as you can see, I've ended on my thumb in the position I began on. Let's watch this again, and let's do this on note names now. C, D, E, thumb under, pivot joint on middle finger. F, G, A, B, C. Going back down, C, B, A, G, F. Pivot on thumb, third finger over, 3, 2, 1, or E, D, C. A couple pitfalls to watch out for. Some students, they try to do this. Jump, no, incorrect. Some people try to do this, and they try to jump way too far, or they hit like this, or when they shift over, they skip this next note. Wrong. Likewise, some students, when going down, they cross over the wrong finger, or they try to extend their whole wrist over like this, and that's not how this thumb joint works. Our thumb joint is meant to be a pivot. Our thumb joint works like this. In fact, if you were to do this yourself right now, I bet most of you could reach your pinky finger. That's how far that thumb extends. So asking our thumb to extend inward like this without cocking our wrist. If our wrist has to move that much for a scale, we're doing something incorrect. Your thumb should be able to swing inward like this, tuck under, and hit that F, and then that hand then shifts up. Going back down, your hand should allow itself, and use the thumb joint to slide over, hover over that thumb, cross that third finger over, and complete the scale descending. If you can follow these basic rules when it comes to scalar playing, you will not run into any issues, and you'll be able to play scales very, very rapidly. Right? Very, very fast scalar playing. If you follow this thumb under and this thumb bending principle, you will be able to play. Your hand will then shift seamlessly along the keyboard. Right? So if you can follow these principles and follow the correct fingering, you'll be able to play scales, all kinds of scales, in no time, with very, very little effort, right? It'll take some practice getting those finger shifts, of course, but we can practice those finger shifts very, very quickly. Shift there, shift back. Shift there, shift back. Okay? So this concludes this first lecture on scalar repertoire. After this, these subsequent videos will be a little bit shorter in length, but I'll be reviewing again and again these same topics of thumb shifting, right? So until we go to the next scale, next time, see you next time, class.